Hi guys, Iron Cameraman here. Today we've got, without exaggeration, a ton to talk about. First off, Databayo's latest video revealed something big. The additional scenes for Season 25 will have a total runtime of 15 minutes. Taking into account Boom's information that there will be 7 scenes in total, this means each one will last around 2 minutes on average. That's absolutely insane. Just for comparison, the average length of the additional scenes from Season 24, which by the way only had 2, was just 35 seconds. Now, in Season 25, not only has the average length increased fourfold, but the total runtime of all the scenes is a staggering 13 times longer. Here's another example to really understand the scale of this new content. If we take episodes 75 and 76 combined, their total runtime is 12 minutes. Meanwhile, the most popular video on Boom's channel, a compilation of episodes 39 through 59, is 20 minutes long. But just the 25th season alone, including the additional scenes, will be approximately 52 minutes long. What's even more surprising is that episode 77, on its own, is already longer than episodes 75 and 76 combined. This strongly suggests that most of these additional scenes will be included in episode 77. Now let's move on to a spoiler that surfaced recently. This leak came from a random guy in Discord. At first, many people dismissed it as fake, but later it became clear that it was legitimate. Juan Mori Animator and a leaked chat with Boom, presented in a video, provided the evidence. In the video, we see a conversation where Mr. Boom himself wrote, "Let's see how much people gonna believe you." He was aware that convincing people would be a challenge, especially since this guy was just a regular viewer without any history of exclusive leaks. But props to him for managing to prove the authenticity of his spoiler in the end. Moving on to another important update. An official administrator of Mr. Boom announced in Discord that Season 25 is set to release this weekend. Now for the cherry on top, this intriguing leak that you've probably already seen. At first glance, it appears to show just some corridor, but if you zoom in on this part of the image, you can spot glowing orange energy. This strongly resembles one of the mini Juggernaut's weapons. The color matches perfectly, and you can also see distinctive black lines along the edges of the glowing area. If we look a little higher, we can also spot a camera on the ceiling, which suggests that this location might be a Cameraman base. It could even be the same New Zealand base that the Skibidi Toilets recently infiltrated. Cameras on the ceiling were shown there multiple times before, for example, in the final scene of episode 70, where they were clearly visible. However, there are 2 major twists in this theory. First, even if I'm right, and this glowing energy really does belong to an Astro weapon, there's a high chance it doesn't belong to the Astro Toilets. Instead, it could be in the possession of someone from the Alliance. For example, it might be Skibidi Woman, who, as we know from episode 75, stole this weapon from a mini Juggernaut. In episode 77, we've already seen her using these weapons mounted on her shoulders. It's also worth noting that similar weapons have been used by other members of the Skibidi Toilet's army, such as Skibidi Sigma Boy, Skibidi Strider, and even their leader G Toilet. Interestingly, it's even possible that the weapon belongs to a regular cameraman. In the most recent detective short, we see a cameraman happily pushing this weapon on a cart. This suggests that when the Skibidi Toilets approached the Alliance, they might have handed over not just rescued agents, but also some of their advanced technology, as well as specific weapon samples. Second, it's possible that this corridor isn't part of the cameraman's base at all. Instead, it could be a location within Alpha Hills. This theory is supported by the fact that Alpha Hills also had cameras, as shown in scenes where the lucky cameraman displayed live feeds from cameras on his tablet. Maybe a special team of agents infiltrated Alpha Hills to gather intel and figure out how the Astro Toilets are using the captured laboratory. If you take a closer look at the atmosphere of this frame, it becomes clear that Mr. Boom wanted to create a thriller-like setting where something unexpected could happen at any moment. It's very reminiscent of the elevator scene from episode 70. First, there's an explosion, then a cameraman shows up, only for us to realize it's a dead kamikaze cameraman, followed by a Skibidi Toilet wearing an acid mask. And then, of course, the cameraman wakes up and falls down together with it. There's a possibility that Mr. Boom intentionally emphasized the weapon to mislead us, grab the audience's attention, and then twist the plot in an unexpected direction. For example, the cameraman might mistake someone as an enemy because of this weapon and destroy them, only to later realize it was an ally from the Alliance. This could set up a new storyline where the cameraman is either blamed for the incident or struggles with guilt himself. Another interesting detail: take note of the POV cameraman's placement. He's pressed against the right wall, rather than walking down the center of the corridor. This might indicate that he suspects danger and is trying to stay hidden. The ceiling-mounted camera pointed at him also suggests that he's either being watched or searched for. However, there's one final twist to consider. What if this shot is actually taken from a third-person perspective and isn't a classic POV spoiler at all? I think I'll stop here, or I could keep talking about this leak for hours. As for this other spoiler, it's pretty clear that this scene will take place chronologically sometime during episode 77, in a location where Skibidi Toilet and Juggernaut arrive. This directly hints at their fight. However, it's still unclear whether this shot belongs to season 25 or episode 78, because as a reminder, episode 78 is being developed simultaneously with season 25 by different animators from Mr. Boom's team. It's obvious we shouldn't expect just a simple fight. There's a high chance we'll see some kind of plot twist. By the way, I even made a fan animation on this topic. It's our first animation, and if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend checking it out. You all liked it so much that we decided to finish it, and part 2 is already in the works. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. On top of that, there's a bonus video coming up with a global theory about the secret agent. I've been trying to write it for a month now, but its release keeps getting delayed as I keep adding more and more details. I'm trying to trim it down so it doesn't get too long. I also promised to regularly highlight the most interesting comments from you, and today I want to feature a comment from PRF. As you know, in my interview, Boom mentioned that the TV Men Base's teleportation technology was inspired by the movie Howl's Moving Castle and the teleportation system of the castle itself. However, at the time, I hadn't seen the movie and wasn't familiar with it, so I couldn't discuss this topic in more depth. PRF not only provided some text, but also shared 2 screenshots. The first shows a circle with 4 different colors, which, as we know, play a significant role. The second shows an illustration of the places these doors lead to. This comment turned out to be a great addition to the information, and honestly, I didn't realize that this movie had such a similar device to what Mr. Boom implemented. It's yet another example of his love for this film. Thanks to this comment, I have to admit, I now really want to watch the movie. Based on the reviews and the fact that it's by Hayao Miyazaki, I think it's a solid choice for some downtime. One last thing. I know some of my viewers live in Los Angeles, like I do. So I want to give you a heads up. There are some really bad wildfires here right now. As I write this script, the situation is genuinely tough. Please stay safe. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Personally, I'm fine. Don't worry. Thankfully, my street wasn't affected. But of course, the smoke, smog, and the devastation affecting so many people in this city fill me with sadness. Stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video.